welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, where we talk about all news, comics, and media related to the Transformers. On this episode, we open our trunks for joy, Arcee gets some fan service, and some guy known for voicing a monkey is attending TFcon. Today is Friday, September 29th, 2023, and this is episode 357 of Transmissions Alt Mode.
Welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, the podcast that is looking forward to offering kids candy from our trunks. Wait, no, I mean, van. Wait, I mean, hello, kids. I'm your host, Daryl, Cybertronian Beast, and I am joined by the excellent Transmissions team, Jeremy, aka Yakko.
Hey, how's it going?
And the great and all-powerful Robo Apollo.
Call me Lord Apollo. Let's talk Transformers.
Very nice. I just have to do this. Sorry. There we go. Needed that. Thank you.
Don't apologize. That's your thing. That's your thing, Daryl. That's your thing.
I have many things.
That's one of them.
I realized I missed a chance of saying hello, fellow kids.
Gotta edit that in.
No, we won't.
You're like, the less editing, the better.
Charles isn't here this week. This is,
the way it gets recorded is the way it goes out.
Yeah,
when the boss is away, it's just
a mess. Yeah. We like to start off every show by talking about our awesome Donatreons. These are the awesome people that give us money every week to do what we love. And honestly, a lot of what's been happening recently wouldn't be possible without them. So if you wanted to become a Donatreon, you can do so, in all the links we've got. We got links in here and then over there and up there and over there, all kinds of links everywhere. And you can become a Donatreon, Patreon, and every little bit helps. And we're really happy to have everybody helping out the show. And transmissionspodcast.com/support for anything you want to do. You can do it through Patreon or PayPal. We have a couple that just do it through PayPal. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. Couple things that are exclusive to our Donatreons. We have an awesome show that Dr. Pants and I like to do called We Like Big Bots. And we are still in the process of getting that thing back up and running, but we have 10 episodes that are ready to go. If you haven't listened to them yet, I don't know why. They're only like 30 minutes a piece. So they're really easy to get through, and they're pretty fun. So Dr. Pants and I are going to start doing some more of those really soon. And I know we've been saying that for a while, but now I mean it. So, I didn't mean it before, but so look forward to those, within the next, 12 months.
way to put a deadline on yourself.
I mean, if I, do better, then I look good, right?
It's the Scotty rule.
It is. So the other thing we got for our Donatreons is, and I mean, it's free for everybody, but we do offer, a free, upgrade or whatever. The Transformers Empire of Rust live play RPG podcast. And that show is currently on hiatus, but it is being transitioned into the Rustford files. And that is starting up very soon, where our game master, Mike, who has been running Empire of Rust for 2 years, 3 years. I don't know how long it's been actually going on, but like over 100 episodes. Yeah. He is now actually going to play the game, and you'll actually get to see somebody else run it. So it's pretty fun. And check that out. This will be a kind of a mini series while kind of Mike takes a break from, DMing all this stuff. And it's, the stress of kind of coming up with a new adventure every week. So yeah,
I think he said he needs to actually write more, so there's more content.
Of course, yeah, it
doesn't work without the writing.
Yeah, so he needs some time to kind of refresh his fill his tanks again, as they say in sports. So he's going to take a break and actually just play the game for once. So that'll be fun. So you can take a look at that. It's going to be still at the transmissionspodcast.com/rust, the same place you would have gotten Empire of Rust. So it'll just kind of keep going in there. We have our exclusive Toyhax code for September. Now you're going to have like 1 day left of this thing by the time this episode goes up. But if you wanted to use it, you can. And that is TFM Pod 09. So TFM POD 09 is the code. And that'll get you 15% off at Toyhax with that code. The code can be used with Robo Points, but cannot be combined with other discounts or promotions. So if Toyhax runs a sale and it's 15% or more, you're not going to get this code as an additional discount. It's just going to be it's just going to be exempt from that. But yeah, so take a look at that. They've got awesome stuff. Bunch of new stickers went up this past week, and they've got they got a bunch of different series you can get from. I know Power Rangers on there, GI Joe, Master of the Universe. They got a bunch of different things, as well as they've started going into 3D printed weapons as well for old G1 awesome. Toys. So yeah, lots of different things. So that's really cool. The last thing we've got here is our comic book that we have all sponsored, and we have a exclusive cover by artist EJ Sue. And last week's alt mode, we did an awesome interview with Mr. Sue, and got into the nitty gritty of what's been going on. So it was a great interview. Hope you've had a chance to listen to it. And we talked about doing this cover and all that other good stuff. So if you wanted to purchase the exclusive Transmissions cover, you can do so at transmissionspodcast.com/comic. And the book is $15 plus shipping and handling. You'll also be offered the opportunity to pick up our previous exclusive cover for Windblade, Till All Are One. And that book is just a $5 add-on at this point. It used to be $10. We are discounting it down to $5.
If they want to buy it by itself, it's $10. If you bundle it, it's $5.
Yeah, if you bundle it, you're just going to have, it's just going to be $5. But you can still buy it on its own for 10.
And if you're a Donatreon and we've had some people ask if they could bundle like their Donatreons supporting us from like August and before are getting this book free, just send us a message on Patreon or Discord if you're interested in getting that Till All Are One again, and we'll work out something, help you fix you up.
Yep. We love our Donatreons. So yeah. If you want to talk to us for about anything, send us a message and we'll chat. Yeah. So yeah. So that book comes out in a week. So yeah, look for that. And it's going to be pretty cool. Yeah. So getting into the show here, let's go and do some comics news. All right, and Jeremy, you've got a couple things here for comics news that you wanted to talk about.
I do. Popverse.com had an interview with Michael Kelly, who is the Hasbro vice president in charge of global publishing. So if you look at the indicia in beginning of every Transformers comic, at least I don't know at what point he became in this role, but within like the most of the IDW run and forward, you'll see, thanks to Hasbro's Michael Kelly, and this is him. And he had an interview with them about the new Energon universe with Skybound and Image. So it was really interesting, I thought, because we never really see interviews with this guy. And if you wanted to come on Transformers, we would love to have, or Transmissions, we would love to have him. He'll never come on this show. But it was great kind of seeing his perspective on the whole thing, because apparently he is heavily involved in the overall story design for the Energon universe, like more hands-on than I think he was with IDW, at times. And one of the things that kind of gave me confidence was like the core part, like the core thing with Transformers, he says, is to portray them as thinking, feeling, and emoting the same way humans do. Like they're not, yes, they're robots, but they aren't like, built robots. They are living organisms from their planet, and that's just how they evolved, and that's how they need to be portrayed. And I think that's great, because I think the best Transformers stories have been when they are treated like that, not just, this is my robot friend Bumblebee.
Mm-hmm.
And he says that he doesn't ever want to give the idea that they were just programmed, or that they have some sort of central processing unit. They have hearts and minds. They might not look like ours, but the emotional intensity and the relationships that they have between them and other species. So, I think that is good. He obviously didn't get into any of the plot, but I think it was just great seeing kind of this perspective from him. And he was really high on Daniel Warren Johnson, and the work that he's done. So I thought that was really cool. And then when someone asked, like, well, what kind of comics do you read and stuff, one of the things that popped up was he's a big Squirrel Girl fan, and it's just, I wouldn't looking at this picture of him, wouldn't expect Squirrel Girl, but that's cool. So excited to see where this is going. There's also some stuff in there about the GI Joe side of the thing, but basically it's just, he says that they work on planning out, say, six to 12 issues, what the story's going to be in the overall concept. And then he reads the manuscripts and gives some notes, but he says his job is really to hire the experts that are great at what they do. And he doesn't really want to tell them they're wrong unless it's something obviously, Optimus Prime wasn't the tape deck. That was Soundwave. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't think is ever going to be a problem with the people they get to work on these. So I just thought that was a really good interview, and wanted to pass it along. It came out, I think, last week, but with the EJ Sue interview, I think, we didn't really do any news. So.
Right on. All right. Well, that's very cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. And I know we've got a lot of people really, really interested in that. And we made mention of it, and I think I'll just passively mention it here as well. We made mention of it in the EJ Sue interview, but the Transformers #1 has surpassed 153,000 pre-orders, which is insane. So very cool. It's a pretty high bar to set. What will issue 2 do? That's the other question.
Yeah.
But there's an awful lot. Like, I mean, there's a person that's kind of cataloging the covers right now, and we were talking about that. It's currently sitting at around 37 or so. So there's an awful lot of exclusive covers out there, including ours, obviously. But ours is the best, so you want to get that.
Right.
Ours is one of the few that are featuring Starscream, so you want to get that. Those
just wait. You know that there's going to be the second printing covers, so there's going to be a lot more.
It's going to be insane. So this has been, from what I can tell, one of the highest selling Transformers comics of all time so far. Definitely beating out the Dreamwave books. So, and they were the high bar for a long time there, because when they first relaunched, they were selling over 100,000 copies for a while. So it'll be interesting to see what this book does when it goes past #1. What kind of sales we got. But yeah, it's definitely cool to be looking at this, coming in a week. So yeah, very cool. Right on. Well, we're going to move into media news now, I think. All right. And Apollo, you have something for us that appeared on the interwebs and kind of got real popular real fast. And unfortunately, I haven't seen it. So what do we got here? What are we talking about?
So this is a fan-made video. It is called Arcee Dreams of Daicon, and it is a really cool video that focuses on Arcee for the most part. We're looking at a picture right now on the screen. Arcee is holding a blaster and she's like jumping, and there's a city in the background with like a blue sky and clouds. So the whole do I spoil it or no, we're gonna play it. So
Yeah.
yeah, so it's really cool. This the YouTube account it's on is called 87 Render, I believe. And right now we're watching her fight some oh my gosh, why can't I sweeps. Yeah, I was like, I don't remember their names, like some sweeps, and she's posing. And it's very like anime influence. And then Galvatron shows up and he confronts her, and now he's doing like a spiel about transforming. He's holding some green stone of some sort, which I think they say what it is. And now he's transforming, and he's getting into one of those anime transformation sequences. And he's teleports above the city, and like gravity's being altered because there's like little pieces of the ground he's absorbing. And not sure what form this is for Galvatron. Like, so if this exists, then there's this giant radish, which is called a Daicon in Japanese, and it shoots out a hoverboard.
Back to the Future style.
Yeah, the Back to the Future one. That's what I thought. And then Arcee jumps on it. Her little visor goes down. She's flying through the city. Hot Rod is talking with Moon Racer and now I'm blanking on her name, but one of the other female Autobots. He transforms. He's driving along the ground. Things are happening. It's very anime, so very intense, lots of lines. And Starscream's ghost shows up, which made me very happy. And he's just walking along like a happy little guy. And then, yeah. And then that's Arcee goes by. There's a reference to a Gynex animation. There's a bunny girl. We can get into that more later. Arcee's on the hoverboard still going after this new version of Galvatron. I don't know
I think it's a reference to one of the Japanese G1 series.
Okay. Yeah, he's like a giant ball.
It's like a Unicron mix.
Yeah, it's like a Unicron mix. And so she's like now running along him. He has laser eyes. She goes through a sign. She's fallen on the ground. And then Hot Rod shows up with Starscream's ghost. Starscream has the hoverboard. And then he grabs her. Starscream's ghost grabs her. Then the eye laser beams are being targeting them. Hot Rod's still driving, goes up like a freeway ramp that's messed up now, and it's up in the air. Starscream's ghost is giving Arcee a boost, and then the hoverboard turns into a guitar, and which is a reference to that Gynex animation with the rabbit girl, and then she uses it as a weapon to defeat Galvatron. And then he's this ball spinning in the space. He explodes. She wakes up on the beach. There's a beach ball. There's water. Looks like it was just a dream.
And it switched to 4x3 at the end.
Yeah, it was a good note. And then Grimlock's talking, Hot Rod's talking. It's like, oh, we're sorry we woke you up, the beach ball. And she's like, oh, how long was I in stasis? And then Cup's just lounging on a beach chair, just like, you didn't miss anything. And he's just now being a boomer, like you youngins didn't back in my day. Like, so.
This is really cool. Oh, it goes into like the G1 animation style after that.
Yeah. No, this was a lot of fun. They did a really good job with this. Oh,
that's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop it here. It's a 6-minute video, so definitely recommend checking it out.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's like a bunch of references that are in there. Like that rabbit girl was from this it was like this anime. I think it was like this one episode anime where they were just like referencing a bunch of different tropes in anime. It's made by the studio Gainax, which they made an anime called Neon Genesis Evangelion. And so that bunny girl was a reference from that. And the guitar, I believe, was too. That might have been a reference to another anime they worked on called FLCL also. So
Cool.
yeah.
Right on. The animation is fantastic. Like we talked about this person last year when they produced the Seeker animation, and it was very short, like only a couple minutes, but it was really awesome. Where basically Starscream was flying around, and there was something about he was fighting somebody. I can't remember who it was.
Megatron.
It was Megatron, right? Yeah. So it was a really great animation, and this is a new one from that same person, and the animation is still stellar, and we got about 3 times as long. So very cool. All right. Well, thank you, Apollo, for going through that with us, and we're going to move on to. I guess we're calling this media. Pop culture. Yeah, we're transforming pop culture. All right. So this is something that I just now learned was a thing, and it's because I saw it and I thought, why would somebody do this? And then both Jeremy and Apollo told me that this is honestly this is something that happened. So, Transformers Trick or Treat Halloween Trunk Accessory is something that is a kit that you can get at Target now, and this is for the Trick or Treat trunk, or Trick or Trunk, I guess they call it.
Trunk or Treat.
Yeah, trunk or treaters.
The trunk or treat is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So they say
transform.
Your car for Halloween with our Transformers Treat Your Trunk kit. The kit is super easy to set up on your car with 3 sheets, cutouts featuring Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, and a 24-piece of double stick foam. The side panels of Bumblebee and Optimus are placed on the outside of the trunk, and the center panel will be placed in the trunk. Don't miss out on making your car extra fun for trunk or treating this Halloween. So for anyone who's not ridiculous, this is somebody's got to explain this to me. So okay. Apollo, apparently, I mean, you were saying that you've done this. You do this?
Well, I've never done this, but I've heard of it. So what it is that, and especially a lot of rural places, or just, places, around trick or treating time, like, Halloween, people will drive to like a church parking lot, like what Jeremy was saying before the show, or like a mall, and they'll have their trunks open and have the candy in there. So it makes Halloween more accessible, especially in areas where people live far apart from each other. Also, I think a lot of parents do this for safety purposes too. I don't know how this makes it safer than going to someone's door.
When my kid was in daycare, his daycare did it. So like for the really young kids that really wouldn't have the stamina to go to more than a few houses. So they would, all the parents and some of the teachers would set up in the parking lot, and the kids would get to go and do trick or treating in the parking lot. And, usually it's like a community of people that already know each other, so it's not like you're going to a stranger's car.
I mean, the whole point of trick or treating as a parent is that they come to you. You don't have to go to them. They come to you, and you get to sit and watch a TV show or a movie or a sporting event while they ring your door all night and bother you. That's the equation you give.
So you've been out of this for a while.
What are you talking about?
Since your daughter's a teenager.
Yeah.
But
she went out last year.
You have a son now that can walk, and you're going to be going out with him.
This will
No,
be
no,
your new
the
Halloween.
teenager takes them. The teenagers
okay, I
will
guess
take
you
them,
have
and
help now.
now
See-
I get to sit at home, and then the wife can, she can deal with the door, and then I am uninterrupted with the TV.
See, in my family, I have to go out with the kid, and my wife mans the door, which
Oh.
it works out because there are some houses in our neighborhood that have treats for adults that
Ooh.
kids aren't allowed to have.
Oh,
So,
okay.
it works out.
Meth?
No,
Oh,
but
fun.
Oh, okay.
alcohol.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
That's what I was gonna say. I'm like, okay. It's fun.
But yeah, I mean, like, DJ Ronan makes a good comment in the chat. All my life, everyone's been telling
Yeah.
us never go to a van that has free candy.
Times have
Yes.
indeed changed.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
but
This is weird. I mean, I can understand this being something that you might do for if you lived in an apartment complex or something. You send all your candy or something like that to the lobby, and then the kids kind of go down and you just kind of hang out and do something for about an hour or so, and then you're done and you go back upstairs and you can continue watching your sport. But they come to you. That's the point. Like, they come to you and you give them candy, not to egg your house. That is the
transaction.
Halloween transaction that occurs.
Well,
I guess I'm driving now on Halloween.
Times have changed.
Maybe it just hasn't come to Canada yet.
Yeah, it could just be a states thing too.
It's nuts.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Ridiculous. I haven't seen it, but yeah. Anyway, you can get it at Target if that's what you want, which is also a U.S. only, store. Tried in Canada, and Canada said no. So.
You can get it along with your Transformers costumes.
Ooh. Oh yeah, like those adult costumes that were like released.
I don't know if Target has those, but they have some kid ones that are not the best looking.
Yeah.
Sexy Optimus.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to move on to convention news.
All right, we're going to start off with TFcon Orlando. They have announced that Garry Chalk is going to be joining them this year. So Garry Chalk, as many know, is the voice of Optimus Primal in Beast Wars and the voice of Optimus Prime in Armada. Among his long acting career, he was in Stargate SG-1, and I think it was SG-1, one of the Stargate series. He's been he has a lot of live action credits, but also a lot of animated credits. So he's going to be there, and that's great. He's always fun at a convention. And that is all the TFcon news we have. But Apollo, you have a report from Rose City Comic Con that you were at last weekend.
Yeah, so I went to Rose City Comic Con here in Portland, Oregon. And it was Friday the 20. Wait, okay, now I have to do math. Like, I am like so tired because like this
23rd, 24th.
Yeah, the 23rd, the 22nd. So it was the first day of the convention. This was the third day of the convention when we're recording this right now. I'm very tired. The con crash is real, and I did not have caffeine. So I went to this convention in the late afternoon on Friday, on the 22nd of September, because Steve Bloom was having a panel. And we all know Steve Bloom as the voice of Starscream from Transformers Prime and Earthspark. So I was able to go to his panel, and I actually recorded some clips from the panel. So if you want to play those, we can.
All right. This is the first one.
Getting to work with Peter Cohen and Frank Welker on Transformers Prime.
Oh my God. You guys talk about fanboy, fangirl, fan-they moments. Being in the room with those two guys was literally like watching a masterclass. They would go into vaudeville routines with dialects, with characters. And in every room where you've got a bunch of actors in the room, we're on a clock. We've got 4 hours to get a session done. They didn't care. The executives on the other side of that glass, when Peter and Frank would go off on some little comic routine, all of us, every actor in the room, everybody behind the glass, all these suits from Hasbro, were like this. Just do more, say the thing. And then Peter, who's this very distinguished old Hollywood gentleman, sort of slight of build, pencil-thin Hollywood mustache, dressed in a suit, would come up to the microphone before he started to clear his throat because he smoked. Very soft-spoken. Hello, how are you? Nice to see you. And you'd never know that sound actually comes out of him. You'd think it's electronically manipulated, but he'd step up to the microphone and he'd go, transform and roll out. And the walls would flex in the room. All of us would lose control of our bowels. And it was like, oh my God, he said a thing. This Optimus Prime. It was crazy. I've never seen a room of professionals just turn into mush. It was the most amazing thing. It was one of the most fun rooms I have ever worked. And it just the misbehaving in that room was crazy too. Darren Norris would sit next to me. Who's the voice of Cosmo in Fairly Odd Parents and a bunch of other stuff. Genius actor. I'd be doing the one scene as Starscream where he's actually emoting and feeling something and not trying to take the whole scene away from everyone else or destroy the planet. The one moment when I'm actually having a quiet, intimate, important moment, I'd see something wiggling in my peripheral vision, and Darren Norris would have string cheese shoved up each nostril and was waving it back and forth, trying to capture my attention and break me up, and the whole room would just be destroyed. But Starscream was a wonderful experience, so thank you, and you still have to call me Lord.
All right.
So that was the first clip, and then there's a second clip. This was during the Q&A portion of his panel. So, Steve's done, I think, over 400 voices, and so one of the ones he's known for is Spike from Cowboy Bebop. But Starscream was the one who was asked about twice. So there's a second clip, and it's about Starscream again.
Love your voice, love your work.
Thank
and
you.
You can probably guess from how I'm dressed, but I'm going to ask you another Transformers question.
Yes.
Between Prime and Earthspark, it was about... Sorry, this might be a strike question, so you can skip it if it is. But
I have a pick card. Go ahead, you can ask, and then if you can't answer, I'm ready.
Gotcha. So there's like a decade between that, and the Earthspark Starscream is a lot more sympathetic. Is there any difference in the way you're like playing these characters between the time and the different take on them?
The words. I trust the writers. Honestly, I didn't know what I was going to be doing in Earthspark when they hired me for that. And I came in with guns blazing as Starscream that I played in Transformers Prime. And I thought he was going to be just as snarky and awful as he was in Prime. And it was a kind of a kinder, gentler thing for kids. But it's not to me. Unless I create the thing, I'm just reading the words. I'm just glad that they kept the sensibility of Starscream underneath that a little bit. And a lot of the same people who were involved in that were involved in Prime too. And I trust them with my life. So if they want me to say words, I'm going to say whatever words they give me. That's our job as actors. It's not for us to question.
Thank you. Let me ask you finally, what is the best part about attending a con?
So those were the Transformers related ones. Some fans asked, and I did record these, but like we'd be like here all night watching this, like what his favorite role was. And he said that he doesn't have a favorite because if he picks a favorite, all the characters in his head will start arguing and he doesn't want them arguing. So that was something he said too. So I didn't have a lot of time because I had made plans Friday night with a friend. So I was meeting up with her after this. So I attended the convention the next day, which was Saturday, September 23rd. And my goal was to meet Steve Blum. So I got in line and I became friend like early in the morning. It was around 10:30 when I got there in the morning, Pacific Standard Time. And I made friends with some people in the lines, and something that the handlers at the convention said, which is different with Steve Blum versus other fan interactions I've had at these larger conventions, is that he takes his time with each of his fans. Like if you're meeting, like last year I met Rainn Wilson at the same convention. I got 90 seconds with him and it was timed, whereas with Steve Blum, he really took his time with each with each fan, and he took a lot of breaks to drink water and to rest. So it was really cool seeing that. And there were people in the line who were asking him a variety of questions. The people behind me were huge Naruto fans, and he was the voice of Orochimaru from Naruto, which is an anime that was, I think it's still pretty popular, but it was really popular a while
I
ago.
think Daryl knows all about Naruto, right?
Do you
Was
know
your
about
daughter into
Naruto?
it?
My daughter got into it. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Never seen it.
Orochimaru. Yeah, Orochimaru is one of the villains. He's like very snake-like. Like he's got a snake tongue. He can summon a giant snake. I was into Naruto for a while, so I know about that character. And so, but there were fans in line who were just like, a lot of them were fans of his work as Spike from Cowboy Bebop. And there were people who were fans of multiple characters. There were a few people who were in front of me who were not only fans of him. I think he plays a character in Hunter, which is another anime, but they asked him to do stuff as Starscream. So that was really cool. So there's a lot of love for Starscream. So I had my interaction with him. So I got the autograph. And when he was doing the autograph for me, he was reading it in Starscream's voice. And he was just like, "Oh, call me Lord, love Starscream." And then he's like, "Oh, I'm going to go over the lettering because I am anal." And he's like saying this as Starscream, which is like hilarious. And so then I got a selfie with him. And then I also paid him because he had like, you could do like a voice recording. So I asked him a question as Starscream, and I asked him if it was okay to do an improv thing. So he has a message for his fans. So if we could play that, that would be good. As Starscream. So. Hi, Starscream. So.
Oh, hello, Charlotte.
What is some words of wisdom you'd like to impart to your fans?
Drink your Energon, and don't trust anyone named Megatron. He's not here, is he? I've got to go.
So those are some words of wisdom from Starscream. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. I forgot I had paid for one of those like professional photos like a few months ago that you could get, like, which I showed earlier on the toy show. And so I ended up having to like stick around the convention until like 5 p.m. But it was so funny because a bunch of people I'd met in line were there too. So we all hung out again, which was really fun.
That's cool.
So yeah, it was so much fun. Rose City Comic Con. He was the only guest, as far as I know, who was a Transformers related voice actor guest. I walked through the artist alley, as I mentioned on the toy show, looking for artists. Like I could have missed it. I didn't see any official artists for Transformers. I only saw a few fan artists that I mentioned on the toy show, which was that Bundy Mania, Travis Bundy, and then his name is Ben Hansen, who I met at Sidefest earlier in the summer. So those are the only two fan artists I found of doing fan art. So yeah, so that's my report on
cool.
Rose City Comic Con. So back to you guys.
Well done. Sounds like fun. Steve is a great guy to interact with, and it's nice that he takes time.
Right.
It can be frustrating to the people in line still, but when you finally get up to chat with them, then it's you find that it's worth it.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell a clear difference between the people that are part of the fandom as actors, and they understand, versus just the people from Hollywood that just come in, and it's basically a hired job for them. So that's great.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have him interact as Starscream or as Zeb from Star Wars Rebels, because that's the more recent thing that he's done that I'm a huge fan of.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to. So the strikes are going on right now. So like before every panel I went to, they said, and even they're like, there are certain properties we cannot talk about. So if you ask questions, we will not be able to answer. And then they had a bunch of canned questions prepared. And I think someone did ask him something about his Star Wars Rebels, and that was okay to talk about, but he just can't talk about anything he's currently working on.
Like a recent appearance of Zeb in a live action Star Wars show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I won't go further as people might not have seen it yet.
Yeah.
Haven't seen a single episode of Ahsoka.
I have not either yet, but I've already seen spoilers. Like, thanks to a panel I went to that was a Star Wars panel on it was like a science themed panel at this convention on like the different life forms, and they like had Jabba the Hutt, like, and like other, and like Wookiees and stuff, but then like there was something from Ahsoka, and I'm like, I haven't seen it yet. What?
Well, yeah, all I'll say is that the scene where Wicket comes in and just kicks butt, it's great.
Okay.
So. All right, we're gonna move on because this is not about Star Wars. We're gonna move on to our feedback section. Yes, we have feedback today, and this one is a voicemail that was sent in to us from Brent from Chicago, and this was recorded on his own and not using our fancy widget. We give it to you to use, but you don't have to use it. If you want to create your own and send us something longer than a minute 30, then you can do it, you know, and that's exactly what Brent did. So take it away, Brent.
Charles, Daryl, Jeremy, and Mike, happy 10-year anniversary. I've listened to you guys since the very beginning. I think the MCU was in phase 2 when you guys first started out. That's how long ago it was. And I'm hoping our brother Yoshi can maybe make a guest appearance in the future. But anyways, what I wanted to talk to you about was my thoughts about the upcoming Transformers comic book from Skybound. I've just been doing another reread of the IDW collected editions of Phase 1 and Phase 2 of IDW 1, of course. I am not a fan of IDW 2. It had a lot of issues, and I think the biggest thing is pacing. The pacing wasn't just not done well, it was poor. And it failed to build up reader interest or sustain reader interest. But anyways, getting back to what I wanted to talk about, I'm really enjoying this reread of IDW 1. I mean, it's just fantastic. I think it is the best example of Transformers fiction in any type of media, whether that's a cartoon or comics, TV, whatever, movies, etc. By the way, I had to step outside, so I apologize if you hear traffic in the background. So I don't really have a question per se. It's just more thoughts I wanted to share. I'm cautiously optimistic about this upcoming comic book title from Skybound. I really have no idea what to expect. I know that the writer of the first arc had said he's never read the IDW Transformers titles. And at first I was a little concerned about that he hadn't ever read, the best Transformers fiction ever made. But then when I thought about it more, I thought, well, maybe that could be a good thing. Maybe he'll do something completely original and different, something we haven't seen before. Maybe he won't be pressured to try to do what IDW did, So I'm not really sure how to feel about it. But I do want to say just how much I really appreciate the level of creativity that we saw in the stories at IDW. Whether you agree with any of their storylines or not, like, for example, I wasn't happy about Starsaber and his portrayal, but at least it was original. It was something new and creative. Or how they gave storylines and character to previous characters that really had no background or spotlight at all. Like an example would be Swerve. Swerve was basically a non-character who I think appeared in only one episode, Five Faces of Darkness, and basically I don't think he had any speaking lines, and all of a sudden he becomes a fan favorite in the IDW title as the bartender at his restaurant bar. Or I look at concepts like Phase Sixers, things that we'd never seen before, at least not to that level of detail. Just such creative concepts. Or the storyline with the Heart of Darkness, the Black Universe. The portrayal of Galvatron as an anti-hero instead of a villain. Just, there's so many other storylines that I'm not even touching upon, or the characterization of Spike as not quite a trustworthy human, an uneasy ally with the Transformers. I mean, just things you wouldn't expect to see. There's so many things that IDW did that I really appreciate. Again, even if you didn't agree with it, you had to respect the level of creativity and the risks they took. Or even another example would be the concept of a Conjux Endura. Or I think I'm remembering the term correctly, but that's another concept we've never seen in Transformers fiction. I mean, just the level of creative ideas, or the Lost Light and their mission to find the Knights of Cybertron. I mean, this is just really, really cool, creative concepts. So I hope that we see that level of creativity coming from Skybound, that they're going to do something different. You know, I mean, please, God, not another storyline where Megatron is a miner or a gladiator who rises up from the pits and rebels against the Senate. I mean, we've seen that 100 times over. Or I just hope it's not a retread of Season 1 and Season 2. And I'd like to see them give spotlight to characters that don't get spotlight. For example, Blaster. Blaster is a B-level character, and he hasn't had an appearance in fiction since the IDW title. I could go on and on. Yeah, and you know my thoughts on the overuse of the Big Seven. There's probably nothing that will ever change regarding that, but I mean, I can only just hope that they shine the spotlight on other characters. So in summary, I'm cautiously optimistic, but I really have no idea what to expect. So, hope you all have a good day. Again, happy 10-year anniversary. Take care. Bye.
You're muted. We cannot hear you, Daryl.
Oh, I'm muted too. That's a really thoughtful voicemail.
It was.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for sending that in. That is some really great feedback, and you're echoing a lot of the thoughts we all have here on the show. The IDW 1 was like a masterclass in Transformers storytelling. There's some things that didn't go well, and when you're producing a monthly comic book, we've talked about it before. When you're producing a monthly comic book, you cannot always have, banger stories like after the other. They can't all be, grand slams. But the majority of the stuff produced in IDW 1 was really quite good. It started to lose, go off the rails a bit at the end, but definitely the majority of the stuff for IDW 1 was absolutely thrilling.
Yeah,
and
there were a lot more hits than misses.
Exactly. So yeah, you're right. It's one of those things that if you're going to be comparing the two, that's a really high bar to have set. The stuff that Skybound is, what they have to live up to right now is going to be tough. They have a very significant amount of pre-orders set already, and if the book comes out and it's shit, that is going to be a lot of disappointed people. Especially because a lot of these people are speculators right now, and they're expecting this book to be good. And if it's not, then they're going to be very unhappy. So anyway, yeah, it's there's an awful lot of stuff that I hope gets brought over. Like you mentioned, conjux endura. That's a fantastic term that was come up with by James Roberts there for the something that can be added to the genre that was never there before, and I feel as though it fits perfectly within Transformers. Jeremy, what did you think? What are your thoughts on the comparison?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm currently going through a reread of the IDW from the beginning, and like I think I am to where they're just starting to introduce the Dead universe, and um, it is just so like nice going through and kind of seeing it now that's all done. I mean, and knowing when I'm about to hit something like one of the kind of pieces I didn't like, but
Mhm.
I feel like the new series, this is a reminder that we all need to keep an open mind because as we are all aware, Transformer fans are not the most welcoming for change, which is ironic, since Transformers are nothing but things that change. But I think we should all give it an honest chance. And like he mentioned, if Daniel Warren Johnson hasn't really read the IDW stuff, uh, it could be good, it could be bad. We don't know, but I think after they get through this initial setup, more pieces from the previous iterations are going to find their way in. And like we mentioned earlier with Michael Kelly from Hasbro working on it, he's aware of everything that went on because he had to approve it. So he might suggest, hey, let's put this idea in. You might not have read the story, but this is what it is. Like, this is what a conjunction endura is and what it means. I know you're thinking of like maybe making a relationship between these two characters. This is a great term to use, and the fans will get it. And I think things like that are going to happen. I don't really want to bring up Star Wars again, but I do, and I am. A lot of things what we're seeing now with a lot of the current Star Wars shows is Dave Filoni at Lucasfilm is he's basically picking and choosing the best things from the old extended universe and reworking it so it makes sense into what's going on now. And the fans are loving it because they're seeing something that they loved before that was now deemed non-canon reintroduced. And I feel like a lot of the same stuff is going to happen here with Skybound. So it wouldn't surprise me if the writing for the first 6 or even 12 issues is just it's already done and approved and everyone's happy with it. And it's just the art. They probably have the first 3 or 4 issues in the can already, but I doubt all 6 issues are drawn. But I think we are in for something really exciting. Just being on the ground floor of this. Our podcast started 5 years into IDW V1.
Yeah.
So, I'm excited just to see where it's going to go and what other creators. Image has a bigger pool of creators just from their own notoriety to pull from. I mean, we're starting with an Eisner Award winning creator. Where are we going to go from here? But I also hope some of the previous Transformer creators are able to be brought in.
What about you, Apollo?
I really agree like a lot with what Jeremy said that I loved IDW V1. I loved the artwork. I loved the stories. Yeah, there were some things that didn't, they had the pivot on, which I get it because, you even brought this up too, Daryl. You're working on a monthly series, stuff comes up, or like projects change, and um, I think even with IDW2, the underlying theme is these are people who love this fandom and this and the stories of Transformers. I do agree that like we need to have an open mind, and hopefully we don't have Megatron as a minor again, because that was, it's been done quite a bit now. And but there were things even in IDW2 that I liked a lot. And I know that we all liked, I love the art. There were even story elements I really liked, in it. But, I'm hopeful that, with these pre-sale numbers for the comics, Robert Kirkman himself being a huge Transformers fan, that he's going to take things that were good from the previous comics, and as you both said, bring them in and make their own story, everyone involved, and to make something better. And I do hope we see our friends and the other artists who worked on IDW come back, because they know how to draw robots, and they're all incredibly talented. And, just as a fan artist myself, they are not easy to draw. They are not. And like, that's why you don't see a lot of people get into drawing Transformers or Transformers inspired art. It takes way longer to draw a robot inspired character versus a human inspired character or an organic inspired character. So, I'm excited about it. I can't believe it's finally here. That next, we're going to be getting these comics. I have it pre-ordered at my local comic book store, and I told them to subscribe me. I'm just like, give me Transformers again. So I'm very excited about it. So those are my thoughts. Also, I can't afford all these covers coming out, and it's a bummer that Starscream is on so many of them. So I am resigned to just getting the main cover, which I think has the Autobots on it, and then our cover at Transmissions. But that's okay. I don't need all the covers.
Yeah, with
one at a time.
Yeah, with all the covers, I doubt anyone is going to be able to get all of them.
Somebody will.
Someone will.
Charles.
Yeah, I want to know who it is.
Right on. Well, that's going to bring us to the end of the show. At the end of every show, we like to thank our Masterpiece Donatrions. We couldn't do this show without you, and we definitely couldn't have done the comic book without you. So special thanks to John 4X Levengood and Demon Tech 82. You guys are awesome. We love you. And, if anybody else wants to join the ranks of Masterpiece Donatrions, there's space. So get in there. And anyway, Apollo, why don't you tell people where they can find you on the socials?
Okay, I'm just going to keep this short because I'm tired and we're all tired. So you can find me on Twitter, Blue Sky, and Instagram at RoboApollo. I do have commissions open. I have to double check to make sure I have information posted on that. I'm also in the Transmissions Discord server, and it's always a blast being on here.
Right on. And you can find Jeremy and I in the Transmissions Discord as well. We're there all the time. And we're also on Blue Sky and Threads and Twitter still. I mean, as long as that's there, we're everywhere. So
you know about Twitter? I mean, X?
I have heard about Twitter. Yes.
Or
yes.
I've heard of X, not no. Oh.
Heard of Triple X. Anyway, that's going to be it. That's the end. Thanks everyone for listening and watching. Later.
Bye.
Good night, everyone. Bye. Or good morning, whenever you're listening to this.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Transmissions. If you'd like to join the conversation, travel to our Discord channel at transmissionspodcast.com/Discord. Want some cool transmission swag? Feast your eyes on our transmissions gear at transmissionspodcast.com/shop. If you'd like to support our podcast, go to transmissionspodcast.com/support or tell your friends about our show. We'll see you next time.